YouTube channel, but if you're new here, my name is Brittany. I'm a Chicago-based lifestyle content creator, and this video is a roundup of my October favorites. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, I've been doing these videos like every month since the beginning of this year. I did skip September, and I'm sure so many people were waiting with bated breath to know what my favorite things for September were. I just was honestly too busy and had a lot of stuff going on. Didn't have time to sit down and film it, and then suddenly it was October, so I was like, we're just gonna skip over September. But I feel like I have some really good ones for this month. It is officially spooky season, fall season, cozy season. I even have a sweatshirt on today. Also, the sun is moving because the seasons are changing now. It's 4:30, so maybe the sun will be going down soon, but the sun has been moving since I've been sat down maybe 2 minutes ago to start recording this video. It's moved inches, so we'll see how it is by the end of this video. Anyway, let's get into it. So we're gonna start as always with my favorite beauty products of the month. So I have two that I'm gonna share. One, I guess, is technically more of body care than makeup or anything, but we're gonna call it all beauty care. So so the first one is this One Size mascara. So this is the Fantasize mascara, and I actually have it on now. I don't know if you can see how well you can see my lashes in this video, but oh yeah, you can kind of see them really well now. I love this mascara. I will say I'm a pretty fickle person when it comes to mascaras, in that I tried a lot of them, and there aren't a lot that I'm oh, I'm obsessed, I love this mascara. My only really true do or die mascara is the Sephora collection Big by Definition mascara, and I mean, it's since it's Sephora collection, it's drugstore prices, so it's pretty affordable, and I do really like that mascara. That's one that I have rebought over and over again. Other ones, I get a lot of makeup products for free from work, and I try them and I'm like, okay, that was great to try that, but I don't think I would buy it. This is one that I also got for free. I will be rebuying this again and again, because I feel like it's made my lashes so long, and I have pretty curly lashes because I have curly hair naturally, so I feel like it made it extended the length of my lashes to the point where it almost, when I first put it on, I was like, I kind of have fake eyelashes on. And I have used before the Grande Lash serum to lengthen my lashes, which I just haven't been using it lately. And when I put this on, my lashes looked like the length that they were when I was regularly using that lash serum. So I really like it. I will be rebuying it. I honestly don't even know how much it costs, but I might go back and forth. Oh, we got a little roomie joining us. I might go back and forth between buying this one and the Sephora roomie. And so, like I said, I'll probably go back and forth between buying this one and the Sephora collection, Big by Definition one that I was just mentioning, because just probably to save on cost. But this is one I'm obsessed. I love it. So Patrick Starr really did his big one with this one, because I love it. So okay, another product in the beauty care, body care realm is this deodorant that I just started using at the beginning of the month, and I really like. So it's the Salt and Stone deodorant, and this is the bergamot and hinoki scent. It smells really good. It's very a natural smell, but it does have a good, I don't know, it smells a little sagey almost, I feel like. I posted a video a couple weeks, or about a month or so ago. I got a huge box of free product from work. So I've mentioned this on other videos before, but I work for Sephora corporate, and so towards the end of every year, we get this big box of free product from tons of different brands, a lot of different types of product. And so I have a video that I posted of some of my favorite things that I was excited to try from that box. This is one of them, and I really do love it. So it's an aluminum free deodorant, and I've been on the hunt for a new deodorant for a little while now. I'd been using for a while the something Schmidt's deodorant. Now I can't even remember the name of it, but then I was having a hard time finding it anywhere. And I had been ordering it through Grove, where I buy most of my cleaning supplies, but it was always out of stock, and then it was never in stock at Target anymore. And then I saw it online once, but it was really expensive. So I tried a couple different deodorants. I tried the Mega Babe one. I did really like that one. Then when I got this one for free, I was like, oh, I'll use this as soon as the Mega Babe one runs out. I've been using it, and now I just really love it. I feel like it just makes me I don't know, so they describe it as being a high performance deodorant formulated for 24-hour protection, which I would agree, it really does give 24-hour protection. So it's seaweed extracts and hyaluronic acid moisturize the skin, while probiotics help neutralize odor, paraben and phthalate free. So I feel like it does, like I said, it does neutralize. I like feel like I don't ever feel like, I never get sweaty or smelly. And I wear it like when I go to work out, and I don't feel like really just like sweaty and dirty or like gross after coming back from a workout. And or if I've gone on like a long walk or anything like that. And it just smells good. Like it's not too overpowering, and I really like it. So this is something I will probably rebuy this. Again, I didn't even look to see how much this costs, like if it's in line with other like natural type of deodorants, which those are in general like pretty a little more expensive anyway, but everything is expensive these days, so who even knows. But I will definitely, let's see, like I said, I've been using it for about a month, and I feel like I still have, yeah, I still have a decent amount. I'm not gonna open that all the way up, but I still have a decent amount, I feel like, left on this, so it should probably last me for maybe another month or two. And then this does come in other scents too, which maybe I would try, but it's also kind of like, if it's working, like, don't change it. And I do really like the smell of this one. So again, another product I love and is now, I feel like, becoming a staple for me. Okay, moving into a food product that I feel like very much in this season, in the fall season, something new that I tried earlier this month. So I, like so many people, love going to Trader Joe's, but I really like to go at like when they have all these seasonal items. So I happened to go a few weeks ago, and I just went on a random like Friday night. I just didn't really have anything to do, and I walked by a Trader Joe's and I was like, oh, let me go in. Crazy Friday night, I know. And suddenly I left with almost like over $100 worth of groceries because they had all the fall stuff. So I was like, oh, I gotta get all of this. And I mean, a lot of it is really good. A lot of it's stuff I've tried before, but one thing I tried that was new to me that now I'm obsessed with, and I wish they would have it year-round, because or maybe it is year-round. I don't think it is though. But anyway, it's the caramel apple mochi. So I do like mochi in general, and I've never bought the mochi from Trader Joe's before, and now I'm realizing, oh, I should be buying this more often, because I mean, they have a lot of standard flavors like that they have year-round, like vanilla, matcha. I think they have a matcha. I think they maybe have chocolate, I don't know. But this one is, I'm assuming again this is seasonal because it's caramel apple ice cream on the inside, and then it has like the sweet rice dough, which I feel like the dough must also have some kind of like, oh no, it's just like a pretty standard dough recipe, it looks like. So it's only the ice cream that has that caramel apple flavor, but it is really like, it's a good flavor. So I've eaten maybe about half the pack so far. So they're saying there's only 6 pieces in here. There's definitely more than that. I feel like there's maybe closer to 8 or 10. Anyway, I really like these. They're really good. Oh, this way. They're really good. I love desserts. I have such a big sweet tooth, so I stay strapped and ready with desserts at all times. And so I'll go back and forth between things. Like I'll have this one day, this another day. This is something I like have been trying not to eat too fast because I don't want it to end. And I mean, I could probably go back to Trader Joe's and buy them again, but I feel like the seasonal things run out pretty quickly. So this might have, again, do I know if this is seasonal? As now that I'm saying it out loud, I don't really know if it is. I think it is though. But if you get a chance to pick these up, would definitely recommend it. Now I'm curious to see if they'll have any for like Christmas. Now that like the holiday season, now that I know that they do these, that this mochi is so good. Like, I mean, I feel like like peppermint mochi would not be good, but maybe there'll be like a peppermint mocha, that could be kind of good. So anyway, I'll keep you posted maybe in my December favorites. If they do have a holiday one, I will share that. I guess Rumi now is officially going to be a part of this video today, because I don't know why she's being so cuddly and wants to sit in my lap and will not leave. But okay, so moving now into my entertainment favorites. So I'm going to start with a podcast recommendation, which sometimes I recommend books. I don't read books as often as I should, but instead of a book, today I'm going to share a podcast. So a podcast that I listen to really often, but I feel like right now in this time of year, it's a really good listen, and something that I recommend to people all the time, and I want to recommend to anyone that will listen. But it's a podcast by the New York Times, and it's called The Run Up. So it comes out, I think, on Tuesdays. Sometimes they've done a handful of times recently where there have been 2 episodes in 1 week, but it is about it's the run up. It's called The Run Up because it's a podcast about the run up to the election. So obviously in the US right now, like I said, it's October. Like when I'm recording this, it's October 13th. and we have, let me look at my countdown. There are just 22 days until the presidential election. So and October is a time of, I feel like, leading up to election season when people really lock in and are really paying attention. I'm someone, I love civics, I love poli-sci, so I am, and like I'm interested in government. Not that I want to like be a government official, but it is something that has a huge impact on our everyday lives, so something I do pay attention to. But I feel like especially in this time of year, it's good to like lock in and really be informed about all election decisions that you're making. So I feel like what I like about the run up, and although yes, it is a podcast by the New York Times, and the New York Times a lot of times is seen as like left media, which I would actually say recently I would not consider it like very left leaning really at all. I would say this podcast in particular is a really good resource regardless of what your political affiliation is. They're really good at just sharing information and sharing a lot of perspectives. I guess they're sharing perspectives but the perspectives are on the information. So you hear a very wide range of voices on both sides of the aisle, I guess is a good way to phrase it. So like there's an episode with Bernie Sanders, and then there's an episode with an evangelical like leader in that community. And I would never really, I would say like, I feel like I do live, like a lot of people, but I feel like I do really live in an echo chamber just because of, like I said, I live in Chicago. Most of the people that I know and surround myself with have very similar like thought processes, have very similar values and thoughts as I do on pretty much most issues. But I know that there are obviously a ton of people that don't, and I just want to be able, like, I like to be able to hear regardless of if I agree with them or not, I like to be able to hear the perspectives of different people, because then it helps me understand how people get to like decide like, oh, I want to vote for this or vote for that. Again, regardless of if I agree with them or not, I want to understand why people are doing what they do. So I do like how they bring a wide variety of perspectives. They did do like around both the presidential and the vice presidential debates, they talked to undecided voters before and after the debate and talked to them about like their thoughts, like what was important to them. And I thought that was just like a really interesting episode, or 2 episodes to listen to. They've gone to different, like I said, they go to different communities. Like Astead Herndon, he's the host of the podcast, and I think he is largely why I really like the podcast and why it's so good, is because he is a pretty like, he's a true journalist in that he doesn't really I don't think he inserts his personal like thoughts into a lot of the conversations. He is really, really good at asking questions, like I said, of both perspectives, but also when people evade his questions or don't answer them, he doubles down and keeps asking it until he'll be like, no, what I'm saying is this. Okay, but you still didn't really answer me. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. He's also from Chicago, so like maybe I'm just partial to him because of that. But I think he's a really good journalist. But he went to, like I said, he's from Chicago. He did an episode where he came to Chicago, and this was before, when Joe Biden was still the candidate, and he interviewed, like, he's Black too, so he interviewed Black people in Chicago that were a part of like the church community, like the church community in general. I think even some of his family and stuff too, and to get like their perspective on things. So again, a perspective that a lot of people might not have. They've talked to voters. They went to the Iowa caucus and talked to voters there, like to delegates. He went to both the RNC and the DNC and was talking to people there. So I don't know, I think it's a really interesting podcast to listen to. I think even if it's after the election's over and you're just now coming across this video, I still would recommend it as a podcast to listen to if you wanted to go back through past episodes, just to again catch yourself up on the issues and hear perspectives from people. So I think this podcast technically first started in 2022 around the midterm election, and it went on for a few months, and then I think they took a break and then came back in January, and it's still been going weekly since the beginning of January 2023. So there weren't really any elections happening, or any big elections happening in 2023, but I guess there's always just stuff going on in government, in civics, and like for people to be tapped into. So again, I think it's a really good podcast to listen to like stay up and informed on just the issues at large, and especially like leading up to such a big election like the presidential one. So like I feel like, again, if you're undecided on like who to vote for, what you want to vote for, what's important to you, what is what, I think this is a good podcast to just like tap into. again, to hear different perspectives from people. Okay, roommate, get down. So I guess to sum up my thoughts in general on the run up, like I said, it's like a good podcast to listen to for a variety of issues. But I think what I like the most about it is that it is a very human podcast. It's not as dry as some other things where it's like, here are the facts, here's the news. Like I said, it gets at that human element of like, 'cause I feel like in particular, like I can only speak to American politics because I live here, I obviously follow American politics. A lot of times it gets to be like, what are the numbers? What are the percentages? How, like the electoral college, like, and it's like people are pawns, or like it's almost like people are just like little numbers and metrics, when really at the end of the day, we are all humans and these politicians affect our every day. And so it is like, it's people on the other end, and it's not just, I'm not just a vote, I am a person, and there's a lot of there should be a lot of humanity in that. So I think that's what I like about the podcast or about the run up, is you see the people behind the issues, like the people that these policies are actually really going to affect and how they're going to affect them. Like I've cried listening to episodes of this before, and it removes a little bit of the, in my opinion, removes a little bit of the partisanship of red versus blue or like this or that, because it is like, at the end of the day, we're all people, we're all humans, and hopefully we can get back to a place where there is a lot more humanity in politics and people remember that we are all just people no matter what. And so with all that being said too, make sure to check your voter registration status, register to vote if the voter registration deadline hasn't already passed where you live. Early voting has already started in a lot of states, so vote early if you can, vote by mail if you want to, vote in person early or on election day. Just make sure that you vote no matter what. So now moving from my podcast recommendation into music. So I've been doing for the past few months a favorite album and a favorite song, and I'm gonna double down, and my favorite song of the month is on my favorite album of the month that actually just came out 2 days ago, but I am obsessed, and that is GloRilla's new album, Glorious. So like I said, it just came out 2 days ago. I love GloRilla. I've loved GloRilla since like FNF, like that song, including the remix, was like I was here for it. And like, I mean, this is also her debut album, which I didn't realize until this album came out that this was her debut album, because I assumed she'd already had an album out. But the fact that I feel like is as big as she is but has yet to actually release an album is pretty good for her. But I love GloRilla because I feel like she is so authentically herself, and like she's definitely one of my favorites of these new rap girlies. And this album in particular, I feel like for a debut album, I think it's really, really good. But I also look at debut albums as like pilot episodes to a TV show. It's like, let me give you a sampler of everything like that I can offer as an artist, and this album really does that. So like, if you're looking for an album that you can turn up to because you're gonna go out, that you want to get your friend to break up with her boyfriend, you want to just like have a good time, you want to go to church, you can do that all with this GloRilla album. Like the features on this, going from like to have T-Pain, Sexyy Red, and Kirk Franklin all featured on the same album is pretty iconic. Like that's crazy work. So like I said, I liked GloRilla, so I figured I would more than likely like this album. But I feel like especially with new artists, and like there are a lot of new rappers that I think I'm just getting old and I'm not their target market. Like when I listen to the albums, I'm like, okay, that was fine, but like I just didn't love the whole album. This album, there weren't really any skips there for me, like really at all. Even like I'm not a huge fan of Lotto, and there's a feature with Lotto, and I was like, oh, I loved Lotto in this song. So I feel like it's just like, it was so good. And like GloRilla just has like her Memphis accent that people kind of made fun of her at first for, but she's just doubling down on it now, and like, this is who I am. Oh, the Mooney Long feature, what is that song called? Oh, Don't Deserve. That song, when I listened to that, I was like, oh, this is an anthem. I do like Mooney Long though, or Mooney Long. And it almost feels like a slow jam follow-up to FNF. For that song to then be followed by a song with Kirk Franklin, I was like, oh, gagged. It's just like, and it all works together. That's the craziest part. Like all those things sound pretty insane, like if you were to just like one off like hear them, but it all works together. The Kirk Franklin song Rain Down on Me is then followed by Glow's Prayer. And I mean, her literal name is Gloria Hallelujah, so like I should have been no doubt that she would maybe have like a Kirk Franklin feature on her debut album, but it was still unexpected to me. I really have been enjoying this album in the 2 days that it's come out. I've gone back to listen to specifically which my like one song, which I'm gonna get to, is my favorite song of the month. But in general, like I'm keep being like, oh, I want to listen to that GloRilla album again. I don't think it's available on vinyl yet anywhere, and if it does become available, I probably will buy it. My favorite song on the album, which I'm gonna say like I'm gonna consider it my favorite song of October, because I mean there's 18 days left in October, and we'll see if I find a song that I like I think I listened to it 4 times today. It's the song with Sexyy Red, What You Know About Me, because that's like, and I am also not like, I do like Sexyy Red. Like I feel like I'm just about maybe 10, if Sexyy Red and GloRilla and the song would have came out about 10 years ago, it would have hit a little different for me, because I'm just like not really outside like that anymore. So I'm like, I guess you could say I'm maybe in my late 30s now, but I still like to listen to good music and have a good time. But that song, as I was listening to the album, and so it's like TGIF, which everybody knows that song. It's 7 p.m. Friday, it's 95 degrees. That song goes into this, like the Sexyy Red song, or the What You Know About Me song with Sexyy Red. And like, as I was listening to it, I was like, is this a Wipe Me Down? Is this a Wipe Me Down sample? And it is. And I'm like, that alone was gonna sell me on this. Like, I know Boosie is a little problematic and kind of canceled now, but Wipe Me Down is a classic, and like an undisputed classic, and that song is gonna do it for me every time. So like hearing that like sampled in this, and then it is just such a fun song to listen to. Like I can't stop listening to it. Good for GloRilla for like coming out strong at the gate with like this album as her debut album, and like I hope she just only goes up from here. So go big Glo. I am here for it. I'm here for GloRilla's success. So that is my favorite album, as well as my favorite song of October, and I'm probably gonna listen to that song again at least 1 to 2 more times before the end of the day today. Now moving into, oh, my favorite TV show of the month. So this is a new show, a totally new show for this year. So I do really, I mean, I'm not gonna say I watch a lot of TV, but like I do watch a fair amount of TV, and like call me old school, but I personally really like a network TV show that comes on once a week and like has 20 plus episodes a season. And I like, sure, these little limited feature or limited series on Netflix or Hulu or whatever are cute, but no, I want a network. Like I want a show with like good writing, good acting, a storyline that's gonna bring me back week after week. So I have a decent amount of shows that I watch like that, and like the show that I'm saying is my favorite of this month is a new show in that genre. So that show is High Potential. It is on ABC on Tuesdays nights, I believe. Yeah, I think it's on Tuesday nights. And it just came out this season. I think there's been 3 or 4 episodes so far, and I really, really like it. It's like a kind of an interesting concept of a TV show. It's like a crime show. It's like a crime police-ish show, which I do really like. Those kind of shows where you like follow a case and like figure out what happened, but there's like some humor to it. And so the whole gist of the show is the main character, and now I cannot remember her name, but the main character, she is a cleaning lady at this police station, well, at various places, but specifically at this police station. And she like one night is like cleaning up, and essentially like they have like all their information up on like, you know, those big boards that they always have in TV shows, and she kind of like pieces some things together for them and like leaves them a little note and like kind of goes on about it. But she like is kind of basically like sees a bunch of stuff that they don't see. It turns out she has a really, really high IQ, and this has just been like a thing that's always been happened to her like in her whole life. Like she just like notices and picks up on things that other people don't see because of her high IQ, i.e. high potential. So she's like teaming up with the police force to help basically consult with them, with the LAPD, and like help them solve like homicides. Yeah, I think that they're all homicides, at least so far. But also she mostly agrees to do this because her boyfriend, who's her oldest daughter's dad, he was murdered, or she's convinced he was murdered like shortly after the girl was born. Everyone just said he went missing, but she's convinced that he was murdered. So the like police chief says like, yes, I would take on looking into the case of what happened to your boyfriend in exchange. And like she gets paid obviously too, but like that was basically one of her demands, you could say, for signing on to do this job. They also like give her free childcare and stuff. So I just think it's like, it's funny too, because like she's just kind of a kooky, like crazy lady, because she's like so smart, and she has like a little bit of like a beef with the one of the sergeant, I think he is, because he's just like, who is this woman coming in and like telling us what to do. But I think it's a really interesting idea for a TV show. I really like it, and it's something I'm excited to like continue watching. I hope it gets renewed for another season, or for like, I hope it gets renewed for like a second season, because I will be back to continue to watch it. Okay, do you see like how dark it is in this video? The sun has moved and now it's like kind of completely almost like dark outside, and the wind is kicking. So spooky fall time for real. But anyway, we're almost done. We're gonna close it out with my favorite movie of the month. So I just saw this movie last night. I had something different that I had like selected for my favorite movie of the month, but I saw this movie last night and I was like, oh no, this movie is now my favorite movie of the month. And that movie is Saturday Night, which I think just came out like for a full release this weekend in theaters, but I think it's been out in like limited release in some markets for a couple weeks now. But it's basically it's set up around like the night before, or the first broadcast of Saturday Night Live. And so the movie is like, it's an hour and 45 minutes, and the whole movie is the first 90 minutes, or the 90 minutes leading up to that 11:30 time slot when they're about to go live for the first ever episode of Saturday Night Live. So it starts at what, 10 p.m. and like Lorne Michaels, who's the producer and creator of Saturday Night Live, is like out on the street, and then like it pops up, it's like 10 p.m. Saturday night, and like there's an NBC page trying to get people to come into the show, and then you just like follow everything that kind of like happens throughout those like next 90 minutes. And there are some things that are dramatized, because I did look up last night after I saw it. I was like, whoa, did this all happen on this one night? There are a couple of things that didn't actually happen, but for the most part, yeah, they did. And like the producers of this movie, they interviewed like every person that was there, from the cast to anyone that was still alive, from the cast to the costumers to set design to people like working on the set, like anyone that was in the building. They basically said anyone that was in the building that night, they interviewed, like met with them, and then pieced all those stories together. So October 11th, 1975, which that was also the day that like October 11th is when this went to like a full release in theaters, but October 11th, 1975 was the first episode of Saturday Night Live. And it was also just cool to see, like, I mean, there are so many people now. I did not realize, it's just because like Saturday Night Live has been on for my entire lifetime, and it's been such a staple on TV and such a big thing. I didn't realize how much of like how it was considered counterculture at the time, like in 1975 when it first came out. Like it was like nothing that had been on TV before. All of these comedians were unknown, which again sounds crazy because it's like Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Garrett Morris, like all these people to me that are like I've seen on TV again for pretty much my entire lifetime. They were like nobodies, and nobody knew who they were, and they were just like stand-up comedians essentially. So it was cool to see them all kind of get introduced like slowly and be like, okay, that's Chevy Chase, like. And I will say the casting was really good in this. If especially the John Belushi, the guy that played John Belushi, there were some people that I would say didn't look exactly like the character, like who they were playing, but they embodied them and like the way that they were acting and stuff. Like Lamorne Morris plays Garrett Morris, no relation, but Garrett Morris. And at first I was like, Garrett Morris, I was like, I know that name sounds familiar, but Lamorne Morris didn't look exactly like him, so I like couldn't piece it together. And then I realized, I was like, oh, Garrett Morris, he's on the Jamie Foxx show. That's where I know him from. His uncle Junior is his character's name on the Jamie Foxx show. He was on Martin for a while, like that's how I know him. But he got his like start on TV on Saturday Night Live. And then like Chevy Chase, that guy looks a lot like Chevy Chase. Like I said, John Belushi, that guy looks exactly like him. There were a couple like people who I didn't totally recognize, and like I wasn't as familiar with them, but they had their careers they weren't on TV as much by the time I was watching TV. But even like, Jim Henson was like a part of like, which I never knew he was on Saturday Night Live, and he was like on the first episode. So even seeing him, I was like, oh, Jim Henson from the creator of the Muppets. Billy Crystal, he was supposed to be on the first episode but wasn't, but he's in the movie. And so even the way that the movie is shot, it's almost like a steady cam kind of, like you just are following people like we're pretty much following Lorne Michaels the whole time, and like kind of just like going in this room and out of that room, and up the stairs and down the stairs and like outside, like, so it's a cool like way to watch a movie too. And though, even though I knew that the episode was gonna air and like that Saturday Night Live has becomes this like big thing that it is, as you're watching it, you're like, shoot, are they even gonna get this like to go live? Because it was not looking good. So I feel like it was a good peek behind the curtain too of like, I'm sure like not to this level, but like this is probably still what it's like every week on Saturday Night Live, because they're writing these sketches as like things are unfolding that week, and then they do like a dress rehearsal and then they go live with it. And even just seeing like Weekend Update, which that's my favorite part of Saturday Night Live, which I don't watch Saturday Night Live as religiously as I used to. I do want to I want to catch up on the most recent episodes from this season, and I want to keep up with it because the clips I've been seeing of Maya Rudolph as Kamala Harris and like even like the Joe Biden, the Tim Walz characters, like they're so good, so I do want to watch it. But I like Weekend Update is probably my favorite part of Saturday Night Live, and seeing like how that has been a part of Saturday Night Live since the first episode, and even just seeing how that kind of like came together, which there was like a little bit of a dramatization in that, and even like the announcer who's like it's like announcing everyone's like names that's like in the cast for like that, like that's been a part of Saturday Night Live since the beginning. Like the little the cards that you see now on the like promo where it's like, this is the host and these are the musical guests, like that was a part of their like opening night too, like as far as like these are all the sketches that are going to go on. And it's just like, also it's the 70s, so TV is very different than it is now, like their technology is very different, so seeing like that kind of stuff, and then just even like, I don't know, it's just like, it was really cool. And like, I think it was a really cool movie to see. So even like if you don't get to see it in theaters, I'm sure it'll be on streaming eventually, like I would recommend it. Or if you get to see it in theaters, I think that would be good too. But it was just like such a fun movie to watch, and like just cool to see the evolution of something that like, again, I know, like now I know is like such a big thing, but to see kind of like where it started was really interesting. And even like to see, so John Baptiste plays Billy Preston. He was like the musical act. I think he was like the opening musical act on that episode. They had like 4 musical acts too. I guess they like, that's what they used to do early on. Like seeing him like as in that role was really cool. So I don't know, I just thought it was a really cool movie. Definitely something that I would recommend checking out if you get the chance to. So those are my favorites for October. I love hearing from other people, like their favorite things. So I hope that other people also like hearing my favorite things. But I still have a couple more months of 2024 to close out this series. And then I'll see if this is something I still want to do going into 2025 on my channel. I think I do, because it's kind of fun. Anyway, that's all for this month. If you made it this far in the video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.